exciting edition of InvestData Trading and Economy. Yes, at first I would say we come from long holiday. Yes, I would say that yes, the market for the first trading day, which was yesterday, was after the long holiday in Nigeria. Here, we saw that the market pulled back already. If you are looking at the chart very well, the chart are giving us sign what happened, and we are seeing where the market opened at this hour, which we're going to discuss further when we come to chart. But what is happening globally in the stock market here on the global stand is what we want to discuss before we come back to our topic today, and at the same time look at the chart. But I'll tell you that the 2 days discussion between US and China finally has concluded in London. At the end of the day, we saw that market, during this discussion, we saw that matured market has also rebounded, closing in the green for almost 3 straight days over there in those markets. Why our market here was on holiday, but we can see that yesterday that they concluded this discussion, our market pulled back. While also so most of the market, especially the Asia, Europe, and US market, we saw them also looking up at the close of discussion as market analysts and the players are analyzing the outcome of this discussion. But at this hour, as we speak now, being the midweek trading, we saw that the market in Asia was saying all of them were also in green as we speak. China market also is leading that with strong optimism from the trade discussion that a framework they agreed to have a framework agreement with US, and this also have slowed down the kind of panic and also anxiety of the global economy going into recession or into what declining as well. We have seen panicking all this day, but with this conclusion, if they come up with this workable framework between these two countries in terms of export, that will go a long way toward. In fact, on that alone, because market is also awaiting details of this market in that environment, all are looking up. Especially China is one leading in that environment, and other markets in that region overnight we have seen the strength. That as heavy stocks, especially in the tech industry, also rising with optimism. Also, is a good news. And this negotiation also is what have lifted that market positive sentiment in that region, and also not only that across major markets of the world. And even as all eyes are still on consumer price index data or report from US markets today, all eyes are still on that to guide the world decision for good that Trump and the president of the president of China earlier before this discussion has also given kind of a clear direction that we're likely, and it has come out to be that discussion is fruitful, and let's see how far it goes. But also US also waiting to see this framework and all that also give a detail and also how the market will go. For good news, I said earlier, all the indices, especially in China, are in green at this hour. You can see them rising by 1%, 0.7, and others by almost 0.9%. Good news, and this also giving hope of a trade relationship between China and the US. Already, you know that UK and the US has already perfect. Also, we are looking at also Canada and Mexico. All of them also have a role of discussing at the end of the day. Let's see how this framework will go to see at the end what happened. For me, it's a good one for the global economy that this relationship between China and the US is not soiled, and I see that there's a way forward at the end of the day, and that is the good word. But I believe that confidence will also be strengthened across the two major economy of the world. Yes, tech industry have advanced, as I mentioned earlier. Chip companies, also all those that come into chips in terms of technology, they're also having a real uptrend, because of this outcome again. Also, we're seeing that oil prices also at the commodity market. Yes, we saw it moving up as high as 67.49 yesterday. But this morning, you can see that it was seen just a soft uptrend now at this level as market players in that space are digesting the outcome of this trade, and then what will be the outcome of this trade, the framework agreement, and going forward, even as OPEC is also planning to increase production. And for now, we're seeing that China importation also has also be a bit low or weak. That if this agreement also kind of trigger increase in demand, that is also every player in that market player in that commodity market also looking at. Japan and South Korea, we're seeing that their index is flat as we speak. South Korea, is hitting almost a fresh 11 months high right away as we speak. Good one for that. And the sorry, and the Japan, Japan Nikkei 2025 225 is also up by what by 0.4% as we speak. Now behind, but that market is also looking southward as we speak. As investors in that market are looking into are taking profit in recent gain, especially from their banking stock in that environment, in that domain right now. Let's move to see what is happening, in Europe. Europe market is also looking at this outcome of this, meeting between between US and China, who's a good one. Even as UK is also trying to open up, kind of review the spending in that environment. That also will help to see as UK is reviewing, okay, they are spending, for this budget for this year, and also looking at what the departmental or the agency in that government also have been spending. For good news that we can see that European stocks are really, trending or in a tight range. Let me put it that way. As investors or market players in that zone also digest the trade talk between US and China, which for me is also not a bad one because I need to know where it's going ahead of what major US economic data, and as UK also give insight of what of what spending will look like in their budget for 2025 or ahead of or kind of review. For me, it's a good one for the for European market. At then once direction is is also identified, we see that market will look up or pull back. The market will take for a trigger at this point in that environment. Once the framework the framework target lifting restriction and others is achieved, I believe that to be good for both two bigger economy or largest economy anyone want to target. But I believe that there's also hope at the end of the tunnel as we are seeing discussion going in this direction, which is also healthy for the global economy as we speak. Also, like I said, all eyes are still on what on the consumer price index in US, which also will give the direction where Reserve Bank of the US will be going. Federal Reserve Bank will be going, whether they'll be cutting rate or not. Also, don't forget that before now, from the chairman of Reserve was or Fed, who have seen that yes, that there might be no rate cut also this year. No, no, also this year, which also might be 2026. But let's see if the figure will also confirm that, because it depends on the market, market data, how strong and how positive they are, and that also determine knowing that this tariff, uncertainties has put a lot of economy, in a shaking mode, but trying to find direction. One thing I would say to global economic managers that they've always have to navigate all this turbulent time. Don't forget when we had COVID-19, what was happened. Also we have different meltdown before now. This tariff law is not the first time when Trump was on board. The first time we saw this tariff between them. Now, but this time it comes in another dimension. But also you can see that economic managers are also navigating to show that how they can also go with it. That's why you as a trader investor, you must understand what is happening in your environment, so you can also key in at the right time and also follow the trend. I've said about the oil right now at the table. Soft, we have seen on it as traders digest the outcome of the crucial meeting between these two great, but also the outcome of this, the figure of today of the USA CPI will also determine, and also where the price price will be going. Like I said now, we're seeing a kind of slight decline from that 67 to 68, 66.81 at this point at the price of oil in the international market right away as we speak. Quickly run the last one. Let's look at what is happening in US before we now go further to see look at the discussion for today and the local market and others. If you look at what is happening in US market today, I'm not surprised that US market is also in this almost will I say a flat mode also, because we are seeing that the market here is almost looking a bit flat, and also southward might say pulling back marginally as investor continue to digest the mutual relationship between this US and the framework, and at the same time expected to hear from the people concerned in terms of commercial and that of the US, US and China, ought to conclude and let them know a clear direction over export. And also don't forget that key rates also will be very, very important. The ratio is there before it is 10% tariff and all those stuff. These are what we discussed. But to speak now, all eyes are still on what on US consumer price, which is also very important to gauge where backdrop, those we're looking at what this tariff will be pushing to, will pushing onward on inflation, on the price of goods and services in that environment. But on this note, I'll tell you that market in the US has opened in the start world also, like I said earlier, to go marginally as we speak. And also, I believe that at the end of the day, the outcome of this agreement will determine where markets will go in. And don't forget also, we're also approaching the mid of the month of, uh, of June, which also is the last month for the quarter. And then subsequently, in the new month we're entering, we like to start seeing numbers again coming. And I will tell you that most of the numbers that have come so far, this economy where tariff issue, we have seen in this number, but most of these numbers are impressive and also great expectation. If that trend continues, we might see that market also rebound. Knowing that the month of May, the history of mature market closing positive for almost 25 years for the first time, 35 years for the first time, say that the trend in the market is also down here in Nigeria also have to change the trend also we're seeing because the month of June also in Nigeria have also defied the sell in June. But I tell you that at the beginning of this month of June, that in our local market here, NGX, that is a sell market, but see a very dicey market. We can see that because of high price of stock moving higher, we're seeing that the month of June, month to date has been in green, powerful green, reaching market begin almost 4 different separate lines, 12, 13, 14, and 15. For me, it's a good month again for the market here in Nigeria. As I was saying back, I mean, when I mentioned that of May, I need to refer to Nigeria market here in the month of June, so that we'll see that the opportunity also for you to see stock that you see that they have made trend in Nigeria, good earnings. I was seeing that economic leaders or call it economists are looking at that the reform we're seeing Nigeria government is doing on economy is showing little in the data we're seeing. That means at the end of the tunnel there will be light. That's why we're seeing that funds are entering the market. Even the month of May, you saw kind of inflow internationally or foreign fund coming to the market. Also we're seeing that trend continuing. And as we are seeing positive data and also the corporate managers in Nigeria taking advantage of if they likely rate cut in the month of July, that also be a plus. Already we're seeing from entering the market, people are already saying that at the end of the day, they might see, in a better economy from the funds so far. That's what they drive in the market. What I say now, the economy and the market, but I'll tell you, people that understand how to read data and also these economic figures are already saying that it's pointing to a direction, and that's why confidence of and also as World Bank also retain Nigeria economy focus at 3.6. It's also a plus for us. We can see that for the last 1 week now, and see that stability have come to our efforts. What means the naira appreciating. If that trend continue, for the rest of this year and for this government, that will also be a plus for manufacturing sector and other companies in Nigeria to plan and also take advantage of what is happening globally. And also Nigeria trying to become also another destination, knowing that Africa is a new market for all this that's happening for among the matured economy and in terms of tariff. Africa is a great market for them. I hope that Nigeria will also not be left behind in that market. For that, we are seeing changes in the economy, which I'm not surprised to see. Like, okay, this is evident. I mentioned inflation figure for US. Also, in Nigeria, we also came forward for inflation. Our inflation is going to come from next week to hit the market. Let's wait and see what the figure will also look like next week. That will also confirm what also our own policy meeting here by CBN the monetary committee will be doing at the end of the day. Yes, if you look at Africa market is mixed. We're seeing that South Africa market is looking up slightly, and that of Ghana and others in Africa. But as we speak now, Nigeria market is trying to rebound from what we experienced yesterday in terms of pulling back after forming a what we call impact hammer in an uptrend that signal what profit taking or pullback, which at the end of the day market turn back. Look at that data at feeling about at the end of the day that look at what is the data we saw at the end of the close, but because it pulled back, that's why we are seeing here. That means market yesterday was down, not in green, even as the data shows here, because at the end of the day, the thing in figure, that's why. But I was speaking now as the market tried to rebound again. As far market is maintaining this uptrend here, there's the possibility that market will continue an uptrend, especially as we are heading towards what we call end of the quarter progressing, and also expecting an earnings season to pick up from the second week of July. These are the things we should pay attention to. But before we go to looking at our topic today, how to consistently also trade NGX stocks profitably or profiting from it. We need to understand what it takes to do that, and let's quickly go straight now towards the market data for today. Yes, I think our market is not doing bad right now. Our market is up, to reflect the position of investor. Market is looking up in the green right away, marginally up by the 0.18 or 1.16 at this hour. And we are seeing that the market breadth is also positive. We are seeing 24 gainers, against the 28 losers at this moment. And we need to understand what are those stocks that are leading the market right away, which is also very, very important. And those also that are the laggard at this point, because they give you an insight to what to know as a trader or investor, any market you are trading. Once you understand all this movement in the stocks or know where the market is going, for reading the market sentiment is very, very key at any given time. I think that the stocks that are reading this morning are ABC Transport, we are seeing fixing healthcare, we are seeing also the legend internet rebounding also back to top, and we are seeing Jackie's Bank. Also, we are Mansard is not left behind, and we have a lot of them. Like I said, we have about almost 24 gainers, but these are the top ones as we speak at this moment. For me, it's a good one for the market at this moment right away. That means market not extending positive try to pull back yesterday and also ahead of tomorrow holiday. For me, it's not about that's just that the market is still very, very strong despite the pullback we saw yesterday. That yesterday was a mixed section. Market was down, but also we see that the gainers were much and also say buy momentum despite it was a mixed one in the market. Yes, this morning on the user chart we are seeing Abebe market bank on the user chart, followed by cornerstone. We are seeing a mutual benefit, that communication and the Lasako. These are the losers at this hour. But coming back to our topic for today, because of our time, we need to understand how it works so that we can start positioning, in this market right now, ahead of what the end of the quarter and buying the right stock. But for you to consistently make money in the market, it starts with what? With planning. And these are one thing that most of our players in the market don't understand. That trading stock has to come with what? What's to come with plan first. Your plan will go a long way, to guide you in what you are doing in the market. If you are playing long, you will know. If you are trading, you will know. Okay, am I trading with a borrowed fund? All these things. That's why I say for you to really make money consistent in the market, you must start with what? With plan. It's very, very important. And this is what most of us in this market fail to know. That when you have a good trade plan, a good plan and objective in the market, it will inform the kind of stock you'll be trading. Because when you want to make money, you need to have a trading plan to guide you. And that's why the most I say the most consistently to make money, you must start with what? With having a trade plan. And that will also help with that consistency. Because you have a trade plan, you know when to go in and when to go out. And also you must understand the setup that you want to play. Are you the type that want to combine your technical analysis and your fundamental? You need to know, because reading your candle will have a way of also telling you what to do. And that is, with the plan you also having, you want to know the time frame, because I tell you the first thing again, after planning, you must have what? A stop loss. Even before you enter any trade, you have a stop loss already. Because if the market go against you, it's because when you approach the market with understanding, you approach the market with confidence, you execute your trade as at when you. Once you execute your trade at the right time, and then you are in to make money. That's why in that trading plan, a real trading plan that guides through must have what you want to trade when you trade, how to identify stock, and also how to set up, you have to have a identifying setup that way to know your exit and your what and your entry. You must have it, and also how to manage your risk. I said it that it must be your stop loss is another way of managing your risk. That understanding technicals like tools like a support and resistance level to help you to know at this point if market break out here, market body that purpose also to manage your risk is very, very important. How to manage also know how to review your trade and define a process. These are the things I want us to know. That will bring that consistency in trading what NGX stock. We are seeing market going up now. People are panicking. Or people are saying, oh no, to avoid them losing out of this market rally. Yes, markets might likely correct. Though even if it's not correcting, what are those stocks that are yet to move? You must have a plan that will guide you. And if your plan is delivered, then automatically it becomes a process that will help you to build a process that you don't need to follow bandwagon. You'll be trading your own strategy, because from your plans you're able to develop strategy that work because you understand the market. That's why I say when I enter, I said NGS stocks, because this is the market I trade often. I know how to go about it, how to position about it. That is why we are training or teaching people how to trade effectively with this plan, because your plan will help you to stop what wherever is happening into your portfolio. If you don't have plan, that is why you have a store that is losing 40%, 50%. It depends your plan that you are the type that say, I don't sell at a loss. That's why I say it's all this plan that will be there to guide you. Because you can see that one on the short term, you'll be wondering your goal, your objective, your trading plan is actually what will help you to make what money consistently. Because if you want to make money on NGX, these are the things you need. You must take away emotional, intervention. Emotion should be away from your decision taking. You must not also guess. Also, you must have confidence to buy into a big board move that you see that yes is going somewhere. And this is the help of what a plan. And when it comes to changing your plan, it's necessary. You can change your plan with what each session you are seeing or a cycle. No, you can change your plan by to suit what you want to what you are seeing in the market at the same time, because you know what you want to achieve. If the market is changing, you need also to change your strategy, change your plan to see you go along with the market. That's why it's very, very important that I said anywhere, the first thing to constantly trade profitably from Nigeria stock that you must have a tradable plan. And that's what is that good plan that you should have is very, very important. And I believe that every one of us on this call, this hour, has a plan that we're trading in the market. If you have that plan, it will go a long way for to guide you. And what I say is called a good plan should have all this I want to explain and discuss now. What a good plan, a good trading plan should do or to look like. Let's go ahead and look at it, because it's going to help us to make what informed decision. A trading plan takes a lot of work, takes a lot of emotion out of what you're trading. It keeps you consistency. It keeps you consistent, sorry. Because if you are trading with emotion, I will tell you will go far. That's why a good plan takes a lot of what emotion out of what you're trading, because you are doing with what following that plan. Now, not just writing it, following it, implementing it. That means you have a plan, but you are trading your plan. That is what I mean. That will help you to go have consistent return in the market if you do that. Then a real trading plan will help you to do this. One, define exactly how you will trade. Before the trade is live or before you go into the market or the movement, you understand what you want to do. It keeps you, in the line of consistency with your decision. Even when the market is moving fast, because you're looking at your plan, it will help you. You will not be doing, you will not be taking decision without thinking. You don't want to move market bandwagon market, momentum. No, your plan will guide you. Manage your what? Manage your risk with what intention, not emotion. With intention, build trust in your what? In your process over time. Because your plan has worked, then you can now think about what process that I will need to put work to strategy. Like I said earlier, it is the foundation that you need. Once all these are put in place, I will tell you, you are already on the way toward to consistent return in the market. And now that our market is making a new all-time high, we are seeing stock hitting new high today. I can tell you that the big fixings on a strong beat. Not only that, you can see those stocks that even have experienced loss coming back again. How do you trade them? If you want to trade this stock, that lost this week, they lost 25%. Now, most of them are getting almost 20% back. How will you trade that stock? A trader, your plan should be different from a long-term investor or a short-term investor. That's why you must understand what you are doing in the market, because it will go a long way to help you. And this is what we need to know, so that at the end of the day, we will make what decision based on what is out of the market, not on feeling on intuition. Intuition is good also, but I tell you, when you allow intuition or feelings to guide you, you get it, you miss it at times. But also you must switch to your setup. Often let your setup guide you in all that. Even the market fluctuation, the size of trade you want to do must be guided by your trading plan. It's very, very important. That is why trading plan is the first step towards trading consistently and profiting from any market. And that's why we need to start with it also in our program for today, because I want to discuss more on this trade plan and also how you can also come in with your fundamental and technical using your trade plan to set up where you are going. Also, the stop loss we are talking of, it needs to be defined in your brain. Also, these are indicators you're going to use. All this will make you to have consistency in your return on your trading. That's why you must go back now to look at, am I trading just on emotion? Am I just following the back market? What is my solid plan? Where am I going? My solid trading plan is the first that you must follow what is happening and also change everything that will make you stay ahead of the market. If your plan is lacking, you need to also complete that. Let your plan be proactive. Let your plan be leading to let you know what you are doing, because that plan is very, very important. Because when you plan your trade, then you trade your plan. But when you don't plan your trade, so that will be toast up and down. I've repeated it several in this discussion. That means for emphasis that you must have your plan, and that plan will help you also to make the right decision at the right time. And this will do more is that you know how to play this plan and also how to take advantage of it and make money in the market. Yet before we call it again, we want to look at the chart now to see where the market is going. Quickly, let's just look at this chart that is displayed here for our time fast spent, but I want to look at it because it's very, very important. This is the first meeting we're having after the long holiday. You can see that the market is still having an uptrend. When you take your trend line here, if you have your trend line here, if you take it up from this point, trend line up to this point, this is your trend. It's very, very important. Take your trend line here. Your trend line here. Okay. Leave it there. Let me cancel this one. Yeah. You can see this trend line here now. You can see that there's a connection here, 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 here. It came down below the trend line. Market came up here. It tested it. You can see that it was on it before it went up. Even as market put by into that means the trend, the momentum in the market, the uptrend is still very, very much intact. But what is it that market formed a V shape here? After you like you can say this copper handle, you can see that the copper handle, the V shape, it tell you that market has potential to go up, especially if the fundamental of the market, especially liquidity, is very, very important. And that is what I'm trying to show you. You can see that the market is still turning up here. But we need to call other indicators to see what the market is also, the momentum in the market and the strength in the market. These are the things that we need to look always in the market when we are trading. What is the money flow? Before now, there was disconnection. For recently, we are seeing that money flow is aligned with what? With index action, so that money is entering the market, and that is very, very important for us to note at any given time. MACD is becoming positive. If you look at MACD now, the line below here, you can see that MACD is also looking good. For me, it tells you that the market is also in a good direction as we speak right now. That means if MACD is positive, money flow is looking up. I see that all of them are pointing towards a stronger market, for me. And that tells you that look at this trend here. This is a money flow here. It did almost 65, 64, heading to 65. Good one. Once it cross 70, you can see that this 75 here, the peak. Then when market get to this level, it pull out, that's a stronger one. But good one now. The money flow is above 50. For me, it's not a bad one. That means that front and in the market, you can see the line looking up here. I wanted to change our key line to our normal 8, but still reading a 9 here, but 8 is what we use as T line. We can use it that it's also serving at the purpose here. But I wanted to go back to our T line, which is a 8 days moving exponential, which is, don't forget that anytime you got a stop at your support and already start whenever you are trading to give insight where the market is. We can see that MACD is still very, very, you can see that it's trading above the signal line. You can see that this histogram are up and they are looking up and stronger. Even yesterday they look up, but you can see what we are seeing now is very strong here. Even the pullback we saw here, and market also trying to stay a bit flat. You can see that at the beginning we're having a bigger green candlestick here, but it's smaller. That also market is also profit taking before we also in the market, but there's no cost for allow. Market has crossed 115,000 yesterday to set almost 115,357 before pulling back. We see that also the market will still cross 116. And I'll tell you, if we are going in Q2 results, like the market might cross 120,000. That would be the first initial of market, and that will also push out Nigerian market to another realm. I see that happening in 2025. We must pay attention. That is why, as the event is coming on the 28th of June, the third quarter masterclass, I want you all to make time already. We don't need to talk more. People that understand how to tell me of that kind of meeting and already started preparing for their for the course. But for you to mark that date and position, you still enjoy the discount between now and that to on the 23rd or 24th of this month. Before that, you must start paying the full cost of 100,000 for the plan. For do that, members are enjoying 5%. Non-members are still enjoying 5% for what for the common masterclass. We have 5 stocks that also double inflation also be given to you or beat inflation. We want to do it, but I tell you that you will see it that day. Not only that, market are giving us a sign. I need to identify those stocks that will go with the trend. I tell you that one thing that is very market, liquidity is very key. I must say that liquidity coming back to the market. On this note, I will say thank you and see you on next week. Right? Okay, sorry, on Friday. Tomorrow is holiday. See you on Friday. Hopefully, by God grace. Enjoy the rest of your trading day. Bye.